downstairs was, well, different people see different things. So one was a face, one said it was a whole person. That's what came down the stairs.
So do you think it's something associated with the building? Something, some event or some person or something? Or is it associated?
Follows me. He comes to different buildings and he's around here. It's associated with the buildings, I would think, when they're moved here, but they don't stay in just one building.
So since it's displaced, they can move between the buildings because they're all, that's really interesting. Usually we have them localized, like stuck to one building. They just put it around in their own area.
And who's this fellow over here?
This is Clarence Harden. That's who Harden Barn is named after. Now the structure itself didn't belong to Clarence. This structure came from Westmoreland out on Route 233.
Yep.
But Clarence had all this collection that you see downstairs, and he just enjoyed the village. He was here all the time. He donated some items. There's a lot of it is on loan. And he just enjoyed himself here because of the area that he was born and grew up in.
Pretty nice collection. You have the ice carriage and...
Well, what's unusual about this is that we have the road surfaces underneath some of these, and so you'll notice the plank road here. The first plank road in the United States was going on out of Syracuse, Route 11. And we also have the ice, we have snow, the corduroy road, the grass, the cobblestone. That's what it's doing.
We need a lighter weight camera. I'm bacon. It's not fell flat on my face.
That's common.
No, she's complaining. She's usually not the one on the camera.
Oh.
And that one's one of one of the professional cameras, so at least not 10 pounds.
Yep, this is a section of the original canal, Clinton's Ditch, which was 40 feet wide and 4 feet deep. So anyone, including Governor Clinton, that had traveled on the original canal passed this spot that we're in right now. After the canal was no longer used, and it goes the same for the enlarged canal, this became a farm. And so as farms do, they move dirt around to whatever they wanted, and
they fill it in so they can use it.
Fill it in, and then of course it's naturally filled in as well. It's been since 1817 when this was originally built. The school was built in 1856. It was used until 1953. It was part of the now VVS school district, Vernon, Verona, Sherrill. It had closed for several years, and then the building was brought here, and now we teach in here as well. We offer programming to students, and they come and spend a half day. They learn to write with the quill pens. They read out of the McGuffey readers. We do some arithmetic, some science, and then talk about the changes, what's different in this classroom from your classroom. And the biggest change that they find is to go to the bathroom, they have to walk all the way over across the bridge. It's so far. So the only thing we use for heat is the wood stove, and the only light that we have is the windows, the natural light. And I do make them behave, so that's a culture shock. That gets their attention very quickly.
What's with the piano?
It was here, but not until later on, not until the 1940s. But the teacher was the art teacher, the music teacher, the science teacher, the lunch monitor, the principal. And depending on what the education level was of the teacher, that would depend on what the children learned in school.
So when do you think the piano's from?
What year? Well, it was here in the 1940s, so it's built before that.
Caitlin has one, we have one in our house. That's about the same period.
Oh, really?
That's why I was curious. It's like, recognize the name. And I noticed a little plank hole over here.
Well,
So I was thinking.
the horses
Mm-hmm.
can come in and cut our own hay. We use the horses for
That's
that.
a good money saver.
Yep.
My parents have horses.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What kind of horse?
Radiants and miniatures.
Oh, really? How many miniatures?
8.
Do they show?
They try to.
Yeah, what are the miniatures?
They're so much fun.
Yes, they are.
Driving?
No? No, the kids ride. And that's how we got here. Because he said, Grandma, we want a little horse. Now leave all the locks right on the places here. This is was the Maynard Methodist Church near Utica, built in the 1840s. We still have services here, we have weddings here. It's very plain. This is the way it was.
Yeah. Very good condition. Organ?
Yes. But
Well, the pump organs, right?
Pumpkins, yeah.
with your feet. Yeah. And then the hole in the ceiling there, that was the stovepipe.
Mm-hmm.
There was a stove down here at one time, and the pews you actually rented,
Mm-hmm.
and you paid the church a fee every year. So if you wanted to be nice and warm, you would come up here and you would pay more than the people in the back room, because you'd be up here by the heat.
And that's a balcony up there?
Used for music,
Mm-hmm.
for guests.
I saw some bricks along the tree out there. What's up with that?
That's from the electrical system.
We're getting out here towards
It's a cover.
Sometimes, Phil, a brick
Yeah.
is just a brick.
The brick is just a brick, yes. Can't help figure out. What's this lone house out here like called?
That's the house. House. It was built in 1869.
Mm-hmm.
We have three homes.
Mm-hmm.
One is 1800, one is 1840s, and one is 1869. When you tour those, you can see how different they look. Within that short period of time, a lot of people made quite a bit of money on the canal. Not only did they make the money, but the canal allowed for goods to be shipped both east and west, so that when you got out here to what was once the wilderness, you could have shipped on the canal, a new stove for your kitchen, furniture, something that you didn't have to make yourself, cooking dishes, anything, and everything was shipped up and down on the canal. So that's what you see the main difference in not only the style of the house, but the goods that were available here. with a group that's so quiet.
Well, we're intrigued.
Oh, okay. Good comeback.
Good comeback, right?
They're very focused. This is so focused.
Good listen.
Information you can know.
That's great. We have 4 draft horses, and we have 3 riding horses and the 2 miniatures.
Oh, so you get yourself a full stable too.
Yeah. I talked about transportation earlier, and before the Erie Canal was built, the major transportation route through the Appalachian Mountains was actually right through the Mohawk Valley. It was the only water route that people could take, and of course travel by water was much easier than overland and through all this brush that you see. I mean, imagine taking, horses or a wagon or anything through here. And what you see behind us here was actually part of Wood Creek. Now, Wood Creek is on the west side of the now city of Rome. The Mohawk River is on the east side. Mohawk would flow down and go east, and most of you probably know it flows all the way down, from Rome all the way down into Albany. And west, you would go from Rome out to Sylvan Beach, which is Oneida Lake. People could cross the lake, then go on out to Fort Oswego and travel further west. So that was the major transportation route. Now, when the Native Americans came here in the 1400s, the Iroquois used this water route. You also had the Dutch that came in at Albany, and you had the French that came down from Canada. So you would see all this traffic, and this was a major traffic route. So between here and the Mohawk River, you had a section of a couple of miles that you had to go overland. And that was called the Great Carry, or the Diowainsta. And you had 5 forts that were built here. Fort Bull on this property was one of them. Fort Craven, Fort Newport, Fort Rickey. Some people might be familiar with that, right down the road. And when those were all destroyed, Fort Stanwix was then built. So for Fort Bull here, once this was built, we had some French that came down from near Ogdensburg, walking in March, and came down here. There was a raid on the fort. Just about everyone was killed. The people that weren't killed were walked back up there. These people came down the last 2 or 3 days before they were here. There was no food, no provisions. They had nothing. So just imagine what that would have been like. And this is where Fort Bull was. Now over behind us, where you hear whatever is in back there. Not quite sure.
What is back that way?
Well, you can walk back into the woods. There's a historic oak back there that was here at the time of the French and Indian War.
Sounds big back there.
What's that?
Yeah, it's a bull. Big, whatever it is. Sounds like a deer or something.
Yeah.
And a very angry squirrel.
Yeah,
So this, again, another historic site, all within itself. Now
Yeah.
I'm talking about Erie Canal Village, and again with that story of transportation.
Pogs, get you out of the live.
Yeah.
Of all things, we're
Now,
now by the
there's a-
canal, and we
I
have
gotta
more
tell you,
boats here.
this is where there's a lot of activity, right down here with the mosquitoes.
Of course. That's why they hang out here.
But
It's like,
because there was so much death that occurred down
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Oh,
They-
yeah.
I mean, they
Yeah.
came down. We recreated that a few years ago.
reenactment.
Yeah, and we actually built a fort out here, and I had the fire department come before, and we blew it up, and it was pretty neat.
That sounds like a pretty good spectacle.
And to see the soldiers, all marched past you, and the whole skirmish, it was wonderful.
Like there's really, like, I guess like a 20-year reenactment at Fort Ticonderoga.
Oh, yeah.
There's like 10,000 reenactors there.
Wow.
Or even had
Did you say you brought bug spray?
I do.
Awesome. Bugs love me. Wasn't even thinking about bugs.
Down across this way, back years ago, they actually built a dam there. And because sometimes the water level was very low and it was just the natural water, they impounded it, and when the boats came down here, they would load up at Fort Bull, and when they wanted to go down toward, past Wood Creek to the west, they would open up the sluice, the boats would go down, and that's what they used for adding more water.
Sharks was a bad idea. Wait till tonight. It's gonna be worse. I got bug spray though.
Add in all the history of all these other buildings.
At least they're just mosquitoes.
Anybody who's attached to those,
Blood north. They're terrible right now.
Yeah, the site, the building, the history.
I live right there.
all adds for a lot
Oh,
of
really?
activity.
So you know all about it then.
Yes. We don't go outside after dark.
Nope.
My parents have a
Each
camp
alive.
up off of Hinkley Lake. And
Yeah, well that's when the black flies go in.
We had
They come out during the day.
my mother has to wear a net when she gardens up there
Oh, I
because
bet.
it just big clean. Especially when it's hot and it starts to get
Yeah, I
sweaty.
was down
And
in Sequel last weekend. It was terrible. Couldn't do nothing. Yeah.
See all
I
the
used to
red.
have a camp on it for years.
oh yeah.
You'd be all redneck and have a dryer sheet in your back.
Hey, they work.
They do work. They make it look ridiculous.
Bounce dryer sheets.
Where do you put
The
them?
best, it's the best,
Vacuum shirt.
anti-bug.
It
best
is.
remedy in the world. People laugh.
I know.
I would rather be laughed at than have like nasty bug bites. I'm one of those people, if it itches, I have to scratch it.
All I can say is that we're taking our time in the buildings.
Luckily, by the time we do this in October, the bugs will be dead.
It's going to be worse over here than over there.
This is that Sutton House.
Yeah.
This is the oldest structure that we have here, built in 1800. We really haven't found a lot of activity there. It's generally pretty quiet, but you never know. There's different things are found different times. So, what you find in one building one night, you won't find the next night. Who's in charge of that?
Shotgun.
Uh-oh.
It's in the car.
Oh,
What did I do
it's
now?
really missed my mouth.
Said you have a
Got the
bug
bug
spray.
spray.
Oh.
West of us and built some canal through the Montezuma Swamp. So this was a good place to start. One thing, it was kind of in the middle of the state. Now in this type of home, of course, a lot of work, everything was done in this room. By the time you got to the 1840s when you started finding improvements in the living standards. So you would be working, cooking, everything would be done right here. Fireplace only. A buttery on the side, which is where you'd make your cheese, keep your milk. Usually that was on the side of the house where you would find a small creek and something close by for water. Outhouse, of course, here, and
Easy to
well
pass it back
outside.
and forth. Yeah.
Yep.
Still fun.
Years in the lifestyle, people now had, furniture, again, purchased on the canal, a stove, instead of just a fireplace. Music was very common for entertainment, for activity, a bigger kitchen. You, of course, eat right in the kitchen, but have your laundry there as well. And now, over in the corner, you see a pump. So you
Yep.
had a well, and now your water was inside, so that was pretty exciting.
Imagine so. So from carrying buckets to actually having it in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
huge upgrade.
Trust me, I had a store right up the road when I was a little girl. I used to go through here. My mom used to shop in here.
That's really cool. You end up with the,
Yeah.
the building that your grandmother stayed in, and
Yep.
the store used to shop in.
Yep.
That's very, very cool.
If you want to go in the front, I have to go around the bit. That's when you gotta unlock from the back. So when you lock it up again, go through to the front.
You want
lock
me to
it.
shut these doors now?
No. The bugs get in there.
Yeah. That's good.
I don't have an exhibit set up, that was set up later in the season. And built in the 1850s and would have carried anything used as a canal store that you would have needed while you're traveling on the canal. Now, usually where the locks were, and there were 83 locks on the original canal, you would find these little stores would pop up. While you were waiting in line to go through the lock, it could take for hours because there only one boat that could go through at a time, either east or west. So that's where your holdup was when you were traveling long distances. And the store would carry everything, from candy for the kids to ropes, water, anything.
All the supplies.
Anything that you would need while you were on the canal.
That's great.
Okay, we'll go across to the tavern. This was the kitchen. Back in the 1850s and on forward for many, many years, when you stayed at a tavern or hotel, it was used for a lot of things. And one was like a restaurant, except not the way we think of a restaurant, where we go in and order what we'd like to eat. The cooks would get up and there would be 3 meals a day, and they would cook whatever was usually seasonal, whatever they had, and you could take it or leave it. And that's how your meals were served. And so it's more family style, like we're used to. There's also a ladies' parlor in here, and a bar. And of course, that I'm sure got pretty rowdy at times. Upstairs there were rooms where you could stay, and then as I mentioned, on the 3rd floor was a dance hall. And later this became a home, so a large home over in McConnellsville. So if you want to walk in here, you're welcome to.
Do you want us to stay on the 1st floor?
Now, you can go up to the 2nd floor there, but just as it gets dark, you need to be really careful.
Very nice parlor.
Yeah, cool.
It was not just for the ladies, it was for the men too, but people would come in here and they would get the news from people that were traveling. The hotel was located not only near the train station, but as I mentioned, there was supposed to be breakfast on by and it's also doors. The door here, the door on that side.
Door
The bar
there.
has 2 doors, the ladies would not go into the bar, but men were allowed in here. It was also used as a post office, gathering place, and think about how you got your news. It was always just through conversation. Next room is the bar. This is the cellar door, so be careful, don't go down through there.
Definitely different than the newer bars. It's like, no, we're completely lopping them off and preventing people from going around.
These are just period.
I love the old mirrors. How they're all like wavy and distorted.
Splatoon 2.
And you want to walk upstairs, one room is all the sample room. One bed is the trundle, so if you have a family, and child with you, you have a room there. And one set up as a single room.
Oh, barber shop.
No.
Well, be where they like shave themselves.
about any of the buildings or what I told you?
There's just more donated. Yeah. I was looking at it looks like doctor's bag in there.
Artifacts actually belong to the city of Rome.
Mm-hmm.
But the property and the buildings are privately owned. Fort Bull actually still is owned by the city. They have asked Rome Historical Society to maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
They can't do that right now, so we're trying to maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
And also because it's on site, and people come here to see it. And people that are interested in French and Indian war history
Mm-hmm.
come here just to see that.
Yeah. Everybody's itching to go. Still gonna end up on the DVD.
Oh, I haven't started recording yet. I just did. Then maybe that was you saying Sean. Usually it has words. Should plug in the mic on this. We should make that.
Especially since he's going to do the battleship. Should be a punishment. You don't get to do the battleship if you do something.
His punishment is he's buying this car from Phil.
Where's he going to drive with this car?
I don't know.
To work.
He doesn't have a license.
He said he's gonna get one. I think if he had a car, I didn't get a license.
Yeah, but he's also going to be motivated to pay me too.
He'd pay you. How does bad credit can be directly traced to his parents?
I'm not talking about Josh's credit. I'm talking about the fact that how much has he got to spend on a car?
Does it pay you it all flat out?
No, but
Hello, man in old fashioned. Oh, no, it's just a weird hat. Like, hello, man in old fashioned. You're running lawnmower? It's just a weird hat. Oh,
we'll save that for an excerpt, I guess.
Some days I have urges to do like lawn work in like full pirate regalia.
you can come to our house and do lawn work in full pirate regalia. Any lawn work we don't have to do is a good thing.
I second that.
Phil's the laziest lawn worker ever.
Because I'm a true Pastafarian. I have to actually get that Bible so I can go through the actual holidays dressed as the full pirate regalia.
There are a lot of us.
Dryer sheets.
That's a cheese museum.
It is. It's a cheese factory.
Gotcha.
No, see, all you gotta do is put cake in there,
Oh,
and then I'd be all over that.
cheese and cake.
Cheese.
I like, oh my god, I like cheese and apples. Oh, Phil,
Yeah.
our